And good afternoon officially, and good afternoon here as well. So I'm going to be looking back behind occasionally. I don't want to ignore the folks that came out. So welcome to this wonderful event. I'm going to start off with some music, and I'll just kind of share what I did along the way and kind of tell you what I'm going to do. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do until I do it. Sometimes I do it on purpose that way. See how quick I can think on my feet. All right, let me open up with a little fun number here. Go back a little time here, and 3, 2, 1, action! Thank you. Hold the applause, please. Stay seated. Oh, they're not standing. Well, I opened up actually with a style there. Some of you may have it, called Gentle Mind was the name of the style, and obviously played Gentle on my mind. And then, as you noticed, I went and switched over and used that same style for what did I play? It was a Johnny Cash tune. Ring of Fire. That's right. Which was a nice style because it kind of worked both ways. If you don't have Gentle Mind, there is a style called Ring of Cash, I believe, in some of the models. That may work for Gentle Mind, but I like Gentle Mind for Gentle on my mind, obviously. It's really a great style with those finger picking, you heard the guitar sounds and what have you. So in the email, if you notice, I put in there, I was going to kind of cover some of the most influential features that was ever introduced on the best Lowrey features ever. Well, if I really showed all of the best features that Lowrey introduced over the years, we'd be here probably for at least 4 or 5 hours. So I have to kind of pick and choose. But the first thing that all the Lowrey organs have, there are many things that they all have since I started and even before I started, and that was, if you go back to I would actually say the late 80s is when Lowrey introduced styles of music that actually sounded more like the style. Up until that point, a lot of organ companies had rhythm styles. So you'd have a country beat, a piano beat, or country beat, you had a march. But what you heard was a drummer and a bass, and then usually a guitar or piano player playing. And so what they would do is you would hear a country beat with a guitar player. Then for the march, it would have a march beat with maybe a piano or guitar player. So think about that for a minute. Imagine a drummer, a bass player, and maybe one other musician playing Latin music, big band music, rock and roll. So you would have three musicians, the beat might change. And then in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, they had a breakthrough of technology that started creating styles. So when you put on Dixieland, it sounded like a Dixieland band. When you put on March, it was an actual John Philip Sousa style march. And over the years, they perfected that. So you're going to hear a lot of styles of music that I really just have fallen in love with. So for example, one of my favorite, well, I might say this a lot. This was my favorite, one of my favorites. One of my favorite styles of music was introduced. It was actually called orchestral ballad. And years ago, for many years, Lowrey has always done a phenomenal job at introducing nice slow swing styles and ballads and what have you. I fell in love with this style. This was actually called the orchestral ballad. And when I think of this style, I think, oh, I can play songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Moonglow, to Mood Indigo, to all these beautiful slow standards and pretty ballads. So sit back and enjoy. Since I mentioned Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that's what I'll play. How's that? Is that okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, when I was playing, here's another feature. And if you're not using this feature, use it if you have it. If you don't have it, see one of us right away. And we'll help you find it. And did you notice when I was playing, I was using the Virtuoso, okay? I've often called it the doodad, but it's not really called the doodad. It's called a Virtuoso. So once upon a time, Lowrey introduced the feature called Virtuoso. And actually, the first time it was introduced, does anybody know the answer to that? Does anybody know, besides my staff? Anybody know what the first organ? Huh? Prestige. I have an answer behind me saying Prestige. Close. So close. It was right before the Prestige. There was actually an organ called the Lowrey Palladium. Which was the last top-of-the-line SU series model. And all it did, you only had a couple options to do with it. And then it inevitably became on the Prestige, and then subsequently in other models. And they've kind of enhanced it over the years. When the Marquee was introduced, actually, they actually put two Virtuosos, and they call it the Grand Virtuoso. Now, the reason why there's two, well, there's probably several reasons. Personally, when I'm playing, the way I like to teach the feature is that when you're playing a song, okay, I personally discourage, now someone may instruct a little differently, but I personally discourage taking your hand off the keyboard and reaching up and doing that depending on the song. If you have a song that you're holding the note, so like right there, I'm holding the note. So in that case, I'm not going to hold the note, take my hand off, go like this, and then come back. It kind of disrupts the flow of the song. So we'll encourage students to hold the melody, take your other hand, because that's the time where you're holding the note, and reach up and use your virtuoso. Now for some, reaching over here off to the left can be a little challenging at times. So depending on, well, multiple factors. It could be just reaching over, it could be making sure they get their chord hand back. And so sometimes I'll use the left side for that. So that way it makes it easy for me to bring my hand back down. The Grand Virtuoso also allows you to take sounds from the upper keyboard and the lower right. We won't get into that today. I would encourage you to see a personal assistant about that. You can also program harmonies. You can program the fake it and all sorts of things. I did it in this fashion where I actually just held the note and reached up. And then maybe when I'm doing the ending, I might do both. I don't have to hold the chord anymore. Okay? So, cool things. Now, depending on your model, over the years, how many of you, show of hands, that have your videos on? We don't have, half the people don't have their videos. I'm going to say, turn on your video. How many of you, show of hands, are familiar with the terminology with memory and the computing world? And now when I ask that question, I don't mean tell me what you know. I'm saying you've heard of it, right? Memory, processing power, CPU. Yes. It's very important in our day and age. And over the years, Lowrey, every time they introduce new models or a series, they've really increased the amount of processing power and the memory in the instruments. And the reason is simple. If you go back to the early 90s, and if you were to listen to the styles, and those styles have not changed here, by the way. They didn't change those styles from the original format. But if you listen to some of the styles that were introduced in the early 90s, and you just put on a rhythm, and you listen to it, here's a popular one here that we like to demonstrate. For example, what is it called? Champagne. So if you listen to this, let me bring it down a notch so I can talk over it. Okay. Now if you listen to that style was introduced back in the late 80s, I believe. And it was a phenomenal style. A lot of people refer to it as the Lawrence Welk style. You ever heard of Lawrence Welk? A little bit before your time, but you know, he was great. He was on TV and all that stuff. Anyway, so you have the style. Now if you listen to it, you'll notice that after a while, it's kind of repetitive, the way it's doing, because of the way that style is. If you use a style called McSwing, and you let it play, you'll find, I think it's, maybe the staff members can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 16 measures before the background changes. Whereas here, it's like every 2 measures. So it's kind of redundant. Now here's what happens when you hold the fill-in down. Okay, I can see the look in your eyes. All right, enough already. Let's get no. Well, back then, that's what the processing power allowed them to do. They could only do so much, so many fill-ins. And believe it or not, Bill Curry, who designed these models, had styles that came out on the Marquee that he dreamt of back in the SU and LX days that they didn't have enough processing power to put on those models. So you had to wait till they had the processing power. So over the years, as the models were introduced, they increased that size for the styles to do more and more. So I'm going to play a couple songettes to demonstrate this. So how many of you, show of hands, are familiar with the name Anne Murray? Oh, wow, every hand went up. Oh my goodness. Okay, she had a lot of great hit songs. Well, there's a style introduced here that's inspired by the song Snowbird. I almost said the name of the style. The name of the style is called Snow Wing, but the song that it's designed for is called Snowbird. Okay, now I'm going to play a little bit of it, or I haven't played this in a while, so I'm going to try to play a little bit of it. And then when I get partway through, I'm not going to use the touch bar. I'm just going to slide my foot to the right and hold the fill-in and just keep it there. Okay? Normally, the fill-in, whether you use the touch bar or the right foot switch, normally you hold the fill-in until you think it's going to start to loop so it doesn't get monotonous and too much, okay? Well, here, a lot of the styles, when you hold the fill-in, it does a fill-in first, and then it goes into a whole nother musical pattern completely, okay? So in this case, I believe, it's been a while since I played this one, I call it the shimmering strings. You're going to hear these strings kind of just playing in the background, but not as a fill. It's going to be actually a whole totally different arrangement within the arrangement. And they had to do that because these styles, as you know, a lot of the styles are play on words. So Unforgotten is great for the song Unforgettable. And there's a lot of other styles. This one is called Snow Wing for the song Snowbird. And so if you decide to play the song, it allows you to do it just like the original arrangement, sometimes just by holding the fill-in down. So I'll kind of point it out when it happens. Let me get through the first part here, and let's see what happens. Just a normal fill. All right. Just 2 fingers. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the fill in, listen for the fill, and I'm going to continue to hold it and listen to the strings come in. Ready? Here we go. I could just do that all day. Okay. Oh, thank you. They see it. I don't know, while I was playing, I thought, that would be great for Jingle Bells. So I did it now so you can start working on your holiday songs early. Everybody waits till the month before Christmas, and then it's too late by the time you get them down, right? Okay, I thought I was going to stump you on that name, Anne Murray. I think I might get you on this one here. I'm going to play another song, kind of show this off, and I need the music for this. I always goof it up without. Let's see. Now hopefully you could see on the screen there that I'm trying to purposely do just one and simple, easy play fingering, nothing fancy here. Oh, here we go. How many of you heard the name, I think it's Petula Clark, that had the hit Downtown?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, they're all raising their hands. I'm going to stump you on one of these. So here's the song Downtown. Actually, let me pull it up on the screen here so you could see it. And I'll kind of do it like this here so you guys could see. All right, so here's the song Downtown and easy play. Let me go find it. D, 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 D. Oh, it's all crooked in this one. Is it crooked on mine? No, this one's here, so I'm glad I'm not using it. So if you look at the song Downtown, you know, it goes to here. When I get to the part of the song, right here, okay? Oops. That last, actually I'll do it right before, right here actually, I'll activate the fill-in. So when it goes to here, I'll activate the fill-in in this measure here. So if you have this style, you can kind of use this. So right here, I'm going to activate it. So when I start playing these notes, I'll activate it right here. So when I start playing these notes down here, I'm going to hold the fill-in all the way to the very end of the song. Now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 measures. I'm going to hold the fill-in. Normally we don't hold the fill-in for much longer than 4 sometimes measures, depending on the style. And listen for it. So that part of the song, it goes, let me get the sound. So, and then it goes. Okay, when I get to that part of the song, you hear those notes, just know that I have activated the fill-in, and I'm going to continue holding it for the duration of the song. And the background does the part it does the arrangement just like the original recording. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so let me do that. Have my music here. Let me get it closer. Got a lot of people watching. I can't goof this up. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. So my encouragement is to find, when you pick a style and you're playing a song, hold down that fill-in for a while and see if something magical different happens. You'll discover a lot of other things that happen within those styles that you normally wouldn't expect. And then sometimes I'll find a style that just does a fill-in after so many measures. For those of you, okay, I see a lot of you have a Marquee or Grand Marquee. All of the new styles that were introduced on the Marquee or Grand Marquee actually have a lot of those extra backgrounds. Is this plugged into the TV?
Is what?
The organ.
Yes.
Can you turn that on? That won't take, and then I can show people stuff as I do it maybe from time to time. So that was a Snowbird, Snow Wing, the style for Snowbird does it, Downtown, and then a plethora of all new styles. Oh, I could have done that myself. I got an executive assistant here because I don't know how to use the remote control, so he helps me. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. You know what? I'll leave it on top left. So I'm going to angle this up a minute. I didn't bring my second camera here. Let's see. Go there. All right, so I'll come back to me in just a minute. So on the styles here, you'll notice that, let me do this, up, full, okay. So you'll notice that the top part of the screen is like most of the Lowrey models, and then the bottom part has other functions, and it's just giving me the style list. So if I touch the More button on the screen here, on the panel, you'll see that, and I'm going to change this so you could see it better. That was a good idea at first, and now I think it's a bad idea. There we go, top right. All right, so when I touch the styles, all right, the More category, the More 1, 2, and 3 is very much like what the Liberty has. And then when the Marquee was introduced as an example, More 4, all of those are new styles. So if you're kind of wondering, where's my starting point? I would start there if you have it. There's another page of, you see all new styles there. More 6. And if you have the Grand Marquee, you go to More 7 and 8. And there's all sorts. So those are all the new styles from the Marquee up to the Grand Marquee. And you'll notice that a lot of those signature styles will do what I just mentioned. Okay? Now, let's talk about another incredible feature here, and that is harmony. Okay? If you don't use harmony, you're missing the boat on doing some amazing things. Because years ago, Lowrey introduced harmonies. Back when I started in the early 90s, the top of the line model had 15 different harmonies to choose from. I think it was 15 then. And for many years, those harmonies were always accessible on the upper keyboard. And then they kind of had some breakthrough technology where they added those 15 different options on the lower right. Okay? Well, obviously, we have 15 harmonies here, and we have 15 harmonies here. So if I want to play a song, for example, let's see. Some of you might remember, I think it was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Who was the actress that starred in that?
Audrey Hepburn.
You said Katharine Hepburn? It's one of the Hepburns. He got it right. It's Audrey Hepburn, right? And do you remember the song that she sang when she was on the was it on the staircase outside? She's guessing for you. Moon River, yes, you're right. You just won yourself $500 virtual dollars. Okay, you can use it towards your next organ. I've been withholding information from you. Put it on your wish list, though, because I don't have one. All right, so Audrey Hepburn, and let me play a Moon River here. And let's see here. Let's see if I can get through this. I haven't played this in a while. This is a great, great signature style here. Let's see. Oops. You ever push the wrong button on your organ? No. Nope. Nobody does that, just me. Okay, here we go. So this was a style that was introduced called Moonstream. All right, so I'm just going to play the song. I've got the setup that it gives me, but I have a harmony on. And my point is, if you have harmony, use it. Because let's face it, some songs are slow enough that for every note, if you really work at it, like Spanish Eyes, You might be able to do it, but if you have to play a song faster and play 3 notes for every note or 4 notes, it's pretty difficult to do. But I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm going to do partway through. Okay? See if you can catch it. So I'll play the song and I'll switch hands. First, you're going to hear the harmony. Now, I have a harmony on the upper and the lower right keyboard. See if you can catch it. And this is really for those of you who have an organ like this. Got to make sure they know their instrument, okay? You're off the hook because you just got it recently, okay? So you might learn something. Oops. All right, here we go. Bill Curry got creative and he put the little, because at the end of that song she goes, hey. So I don't know if you caught it, but so I used harmony. But there was an amazing feature that was introduced, and there are only certain models that have it. So if you have a touchscreen model, actually if you have a Lowrey organ since the early 90s, you have harmony. I mean, even our beginners models have a harmony. But the flagship models have always had 15 harmonies, and then along the way, they started putting harmonies on the upper and the lower right. However, when the Marquee was introduced, Lowrey took that a step further, and I can tell some of you on some of my classes, I actually have some students here that taught me some things. Thank goodness LaVon Amy was on one time when I had a question about, I was editing some stuff on the screen, and she helped me figure it out. But you got to be careful if you ask LaVon. She'll charge you $100 a minute. That's how much she knows. She's giving me dirty looks. Stop saying that. No, but anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? Oh, harmony. So Lowrey introduced an amazing feature called Cascade. And here's how it works. You have 15 harmonies. Duet does 2 notes. Most people know that. How many notes does the country harmony do? Anybody? This is where you can unmute yourself and tell me. We have 4 as a guess. Anybody? It does 2. What's the difference? Well, the difference is where the note is played. So if you do AOC, for example, when you play a note, and you have AOC activated, it adds notes below it, 2 notes below it. If you do, now how many, this one's too easy. How many notes are played when you're using a 4-part harmony? 4, right? How many notes are used when you're using a block harmony? Any guesses? Nope. Block harmony? Nobody wants to guess. It's 4, sometimes 5. And it really depends on the chord you're playing. Because if you're playing a C chord or a C major 7th, you know, the chord structure is a little different. So harmonies the way they work is they pull from the left hand and they add other notes based on the left hand chord. But if they both play 4 notes, they're different. The 4 notes are different, and it just gives it a different effect. 5-part is 5-part, et cetera, et cetera. So what Lowrey did is when Cascade is activated, it'll actually play the notes based on the harmony. Sometimes it'll go up, sometimes it'll go down. So as an example, I go to some of my recipes, built-in recipes here. We have a category of presets that's labeled Cascades. Now, the beauty of this is Cascade, if you have this feature on your instrument, they will not come up just when you select this category. Now I'm going to pull it up on the screen there. Can you guys see that okay on the, wherever you're at? Okay. So you'll notice that on the screen here, every one of these presets has a Cascade feature activated. Okay? You'll notice after each sound, you'll see the very first one, it says piano crescendo, that's like piano crescendo strings, and then it says /do, okay? So the sound on the top, sound on the bottom. Do you see the little symbol after each sound? It has a little @ symbol, right? Anytime there's a preset that has that symbol, that's telling you the Cascade feature has been activated. Now, it's in all of these, obviously, because this particular group of presets is specifically called Cascade. But when I'm using other rhythm styles, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm just going to put on a rhythm. Just put on something here. And let's see. Let me pick, I'll pick something slow. And let me just put up my presets, and let me just take a peek here. Okay, here, for example, is a style called Love is Tender, which is great for Love Me Tender. You'll see all of the presets there, but if you notice on number 4 or number 5, actually number 2, on the upper keyboard it has that. That means the Cascade feature is activated when I use that preset, not on the lower keyboard. They're not going to do it on every preset naturally, but you'll see they put it in places that were Bill programmed that he thought it was necessary, okay? So if I was playing Love is Tender for Love Me Tender. Let me just play it a little bit. Now let me go to number 2 here. See what that sounds like. So on the top keyboard, that sound has the harmony along with the Cascade. So let's see. I'm going to hold the note. You hear it? It's very soft. Now let me go to number 4. Ooh, I love that. It just kind of just glides down. So they are throughout the instrument. Now, if I go back to the category presets, just to give you a little taste of some of these, they give you some recipes to start off with. So if I play this one here, change the camera so they could see that I'm not doing it. There's always a skeptic out there to make sure that proof's in the fingers, right? All right, so what I did is I put on my easy button. I turned off memory so you could kind of see this, and I'm just going to do 1 note easy play. Now, that's a piano with like a crescendo string. Now, if I put piano and strings, listen to the notes. It's going to be different. See, the notes bounced a little differently because that was a different harmony that it was using. It used what's called a full AOC. So very, very clever stuff here. I love the strings. Now, strings you have to listen because they're very soft and soothing, and so they're very subtle. Oh, easy button. So, as an example, when I was playing Moon River, I got this great idea that maybe this style will actually work because it gives me this beautiful choir on top, which I'm going to activate the Cascade. And then on the bottom, I'm going to use the strings and the bells. What you heard was the Cascade feature. But instead of playing Moon River, I'm going to use Intro 2 to play something totally different. Listen. Let's start with just a harmony. Here we go on the Lowrey keyboard. I'm going to add Cascade to the upper. Pretty cool, huh? Whoa! Wow, did you notice all of those people applauding and yelling? They had lower voices, like a bunch of men, I guess. No, it was transposed down. So some really, really cool things in there. Now, I'm going to fast forward. I'm looking online. Let's see. I see Joe Fontesha. I see Carrie. Carrie, is that you back there? Wave. Oh, there he is. Carrie's. These guys are awesome. If you ever have a chance to see some of their classes, I encourage you. Sun City, so that means Joni. I see Dawn. Oh my gosh, the pressure is on. All the amazing instructors watching me. They're all really, really hardworking people. Have you noticed here? You know, Todd basically works every day. I know Gail, actually, I was going to start charging her rent. Yes, because she's there all the time. And Carrie, he already pays rent. He sleeps in the back there. They work really hard, all of our staff members. And so I thought I'd play a new song here. I'll switch over to a little bit of the Grand Marquee. The Grand Marquee was a phenomenal invention. It was a very limited availability invention. And the short story that I tell a lot of people this, but if you're new, if you haven't joined us recently or you're not aware of this, I'll tell you the short story, the short version. It was in 2016, or was it 17? I forget what year, one of those 2 years. Word got out that Lowrey was building a supermodel, and it was inevitably was going to be the Lowrey Aria, and it is a phenomenal product, and it has, as you know, you're blessed with having one of those. And there's so many, the innovations on that product was just above and beyond. But in about the spring-ish or so, word got out that Lowrey was building this new top-of-the-line model. We didn't know what it was called. And the vice president of Lowrey went to his boss. He said, listen, we've got 100 marquees built. We already paid for the cabinets. We got them done. They're ready to go. He says, we're not going to sell many of these because people are going to hold out to wait for the Aria. People like the dealers, because it's not inexpensive. And so he had this clever idea of taking the 100 cabinets, they had the computers, they had the pro, they had everything already ready to sell marquees. And he said, let's take some of the goodies off of the aria and put it into the marquee. And then hence it became the Grand Marquee Luxury Edition. And they made a limited number of these units. And the first thing they did is they took some of the cool, I call them the cool styles. Well, they're all pretty cool, aren't they? They took a good portion of the new styles, and the new styles weren't a play on words. So, for example, when I did Love is Tender, most people know, oh, love me tender. Snow wing, oh, snowbird. Well, instead of naming the style a little bit differently to figure out, they went ahead and paid some royalties and called the name of the style the name of the song that it was designed for. So, for example, I like to dedicate this to all my hardworking staff members, because you know they work really hard, and I know they work at least 9 to 5 every day, don't they? Sometimes they work 6 to midnight, because it's whenever they go to bed. But they work really hard. They believe in what we do. But the song 9 to 5, obviously, the style is called 9 to 5. So the song that I'm going to play is 9 to 5. Now, many of you probably know this. If you don't, if you listen to the song 9 to 5, in the beginning you hear Dolly Parton's nails tapping. And it's supposed to sound like a typewriter because of the movie being working in an office, what have you. And she said in a thing that I heard, a little audio thing that I heard, and she was doing a little talk on her history and her life, and she said when she recorded that, she used the nails because she wanted to emulate the typewriter. And she said they actually on the record, you know, when they have the song credits, music by blah, 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 lyrics, it said nails by Dolly Parton. So somebody look it up and confirm it, but that's what I heard her say. So in the beginning, we don't have Dolly Parton nails because they probably would have to pay huge for royalties on this. So instead, Bill Curry worked around it but made it sound like it. So here we go. This is for you guys that are working hard, guys and gals. Here we go. Some great signature, I should call it signature, real styles. And then taking it a step further there, so many amazing styles. Actually, I always have a lot of fun with this this next style here because it was, I think it was Frankie Avalon who did the song Venus. If you ever heard the song Venus, and in the beginning of the song you'll hear the singers in the background go, woo, woo. What sounds better than that? Woo. All right, listen very closely. What I really love about these styles, Bill Curry was very, very careful in the styles he wanted to choose. They had to do styles that, hey, you know what? A lot of people will enjoy playing this one. A lot of people would enjoy this one. But let's put on a style that you can use to play the song, but maybe also a style that you can play all sorts of other great songs with it. So listen very closely. The first part of the song, I'll play Venus. And maybe get the music, because I always goof this up. Let me get my Grand Marquee songbook here. All right, Venus. And then partway through, I'll just switch to another song and watch how great this works for so many other fabulous songs. You ever push the wrong button? There it is. Take two. So amazing things they introduced. Now, how many of you are familiar with the term, and you should all raise your hand, and if you're not, raise your hand anyway. MCS. Okay, we all.
Yes.
Okay, some people refer to it as the easy button, but really, the easy button isn't it's not really technically a feature that does something. What it does, it's a feature that turns on a feature. Okay, that's what it does. So the easy button turns on the MCS, the auto bass, and the memory. Okay, so that's what it does. But MCS, I have to tell you, to this day, there are many companies out there that don't do this. There's only one other that does, and it's our own product, because we know it has to be this way. But years ago, I don't remember when, Lowrey made the chord system so that if you're a one-finger player and you played, it played the chord sound in the right position, as we talked about in the class last week. Okay? And some people like to transition from 1 to 2 to 3-finger chords. When I play, for example, the example I give a lot, there's some songs that I play occasionally, the song goes into an E flat. Well, every time I do E flat, I have to think a little bit if I'm playing the 3-finger chord. So if I'm playing my easy play and I get an E flat, I just reach up and hit E flat with one finger because it's going to do it correctly. Well, over the years, what's evolved is Lowrey has introduced features wrapped around the MCS, and it's MCS Plus. And they got to the Grand Marquee. There's 6 of them. Now, I'm going to play all 6, but I'm going to kind of feature a few of them here. And so, for example, MCS Plus was the first one that was introduced, and what it did is it took a traditional chord where you're a 3-finger or 1-finger, that would be 3 notes, and when you use MCS Plus, it plays 6 to 7 to 8 note chords, which we refer to as the jazz chord, because it plays a, Robert, what is it? The MCS Plus, 6/9?
6/9, sometimes 13th.
It plays a 6, 9, sometimes a 13. He's getting his calculator out. It does these chords that most of us normally wouldn't do. And so it does it for you. So for example, here's an F chord. Okay. Now watch what happens when I activate the MCS Plus. Listen carefully to the chord. I mean, it's doing a lot in there, and it plays it in the correct position. So 8-note chords, it'll automatically know where to play it. Even if you transpose, it knows how to reposition it. So if I was playing this, instead of that, I can make it sound like, and then there's what they call normal two hands, which basically is like a stacked chord in a sense. So rather than a chord sound like this, now listen closely when I activate it. Now, if you think about it, you need two hands to do this, which at some point you could learn if you really worked at it. The problem is you wouldn't have a hand to play your melody, right? Unless you're one of those, no, I don't think that, no, you still can't do it because you got to, but here, or you have what's called a blues harmony. I'm going to defer to Robert. Robert, what chord is this? That's a ninth chord. That's too much work to figure out. I'm just going to push the button. So watch. I could play this song like. Or I could do it like this. Just put it on and not try to figure out a ninth. Listen closely. What's really cool about these chords is it knows when it needs to add the ninth or not. So for example, at the end there, I hit an F chord and it automatically did it. If I play an F major seventh, it knows you're playing a F major seventh. I'm not going to try to change a different note. It's very intelligent. Or maybe is it Bill Curry that was very intelligent to program it that way. Actually, I heard Jim Vogelman was behind that too. Someone do some research, fact check me. All right, and if you look on the screen here, you guys could see it here in the store. You'll see on the Grand Marquee, it has 6 MCS pluses. So it depends on how you want to play your song. Sometimes I want the stacked chords on number 2. Sometimes I want those fancy jazz chords, or I want it to sound bluesy. A theater MCS plays 4 notes with 1 finger. Light is kind of interesting. It's actually a 2-note chord. So a lot of times I'll transpose down a lot. And then if I just do a regular MCS, it kind of gets a little low. If I do the light, it'll actually thin it out a little bit. And then you'll see open is what they call it's a harmony where it sort of takes the middle note out and brings it down an octave and spreads the notes out, which is almost impossible to do unless you have really, really, really long fingers. All right, now going back to the word light there, okay? Lowrey introduced, obviously, all of these wonderful real styles that they stole. Of course, they owned it, so it wasn't really a theft. That they took from the aria. They took a handful of great real styles, but they also answered a problem that we've been saying for years. And you'll see there are a group of styles called light. Now, not light like the light bulb, but light. Now, if you think about it, the word light, think in terms of when you see certain food products, right? Sometimes they'll actually say light, like it's light in calories. Well, in the music world here, these are styles that are light and calories in the orchestration. So think about a rhythm style like this, for example. Let's see, Dixieland. Now let's listen to this for a minute. Now listen to that band. There's a lot going on in there. That's not considered light. And for many years, they have all these wonderful styles that are true to the name of the style. Dixieland, Razzmatazz, the big bands, and they're supposed to be. But sometimes they're a little too on the busy side for some of the songs we play. So what do we say? Turn off Orchestra Plus. Well, that's a temporary solution. But really, when you're doing that, you're turning off most of the band members. So then we get into, we'll tell people, put on a rhythm style and edit it, and then you can go into this screen here, and then you can edit it and trim and turn it and this and that and so forth. And some people do that. And then every time I teach a class of that, about 70% of the class, they give me that deer in the headlights look. Like, wow, that's fascinating. And they go home because I'm not going to mess around with that. So what Lowrey did is they gave us something very clever. They gave us a group of styles that can work with literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. You'll see the variety there, called light. And all it means is instead of being a really busy style, they made it orchestrated enough so that it was appealing, but not too busy that you thought there was too much happening. So for example, the first one there says light big band. I'll demonstrate a couple of these, are fun. Let's see here. I'm going to do light big band, just do a rhythm preset. Yeah, that's great. All right, here we go. Thank you. Hold this. Now, what you didn't see on the screen here, they got to see it here. When I was playing, we did what I encourage a lot of students to do, right? When you're playing along, so I put on light big band and I put on custom 4, and it tells you all the presets, right? I noticed, you'll see there number 6 has a 1 with brackets on it. Or what is that? What do you call those? Brackets or whatever. Okay. So on the Grand Marquee, throughout the instrument, occasionally it's going to say 1 in front of it or 2. What are these, you ask? What are these? I'm glad you all asked. All right. Well, let's look on the screen there. I'm going to put my category presets up. These were some of the new Marquee sounds that they introduced. On the last page, you'll see that it has dimension 1, 2, new pipes, Lenny's best. Some of these were taken from the aria. And when I do dimension 1 or 2, and I pull up the screen, okay, you'll notice that every one of these sounds have a 1 in front of it. If I do dimension 2, every one will have a 2 in front of it, okay? And the difference is the 2 has a harmony, but it's not just a harmony like you're normally used to. What they did is they went back and programmed every sound so that when you had a clarinet with a harmony, The clarinet was the lead sound, stood out, and the harmony was soft. You could hear it, but not dominating the main sound, okay? I'll just show off some of my favorite dimension one here. So one you heard actually was the clarinet. You can actually, it's almost like you'd hear the breath. And then you'll see, oh, it says guitar bend. Oh, that's cool. It actually just bends the note for you. Okay, let me do this so you can see. No tricks. Let's see. You just hit the note and it bends the note. What else I got there? Oh, guitar. This is like a 12-string guitar. Look, listen how authentic these are. This new dimension vibes. The trombone is often referred to as the trombone player who purposely did not remove the spit valve after they played. You know they do that, right? Yeah. You know why they do that, right? Yeah. Clean it. I've heard that they sometimes purposely don't, and it gives it a different effect. I know this because there was somebody who was a trombone player that demonstrated Lowrey organs for years, and he says, that's what it sounds like, and I think that's what it is. So if you listen, you got to be careful. It's so real. You guys are pretty close here. Spit comes flying out of the organ sometimes. It's like that guy Gallagher used to put, I forgot, no, I'm just kidding. What? See the difference between that and any other trombone? Oh, listen to this alto sax. Pay very close attention. No chords in the beginning. You could hear the breath and the vibrato. Amazing. Grand piano. Now watch this. They made it so that all the entire keyboard What do you think of the dimensions, huh? Isn't that great? And the beauty is, if you want some of those, you can got a category, but as you're playing, Bill, when the Grand Marquee was introduced, they filtered them throughout the instrument in places that it would have been perfect for. Now, I'm going to finish up with one last number. I'm going to finish up actually with a light style, which is not usual. Usually I finish up with big and fancy. I'm going to use a style here called light swing gypsy. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to put on my presets, see what I got here before I play. Let's see. But I'm going to have a little fun, and now that I have cameras on me, I can't cheat without you guys knowing, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Sometimes I do it and I don't tell people. Yes, the old famous fake it button. Now let me tell you my opinion on the fake it button. It's a great feature, but depending on the model you have, it's not as user-friendly depending on which instrument has it. And it has evolved. It was first introduced in 2011. Did you know that? You're going to leave here with a wealth of knowledge. It was introduced on an organ called the Lowrey Sterling. Okay? And it was kind of a major breakthrough because for the first time, you could, as what Don says, noodle. the notes, if you just play the chord in the song that you're playing and you just do that and you noodle, and it'll ad-lib these notes, or you can do a solo that you wouldn't have to spend years doing it. Think about it. These features are designed because hobby players aren't going to learn to be professional organists, okay? Well, that was great, and then people complained. Not that our customers complain, right? Nobody complains here? Some people are rolling their eyes. They're going like this. No, just kidding. But I was one of the complainers. I was like, that's a great feature, but you know, some songs you have to like emphasize it just right, and you got to tap it just right, and it's not, for a beginner that's just learning to play and timing, they put that feature on some of the small models. Your timing is not, you know, something you want to worry about. So on one of the models, they introduced the fake it where you just hold the note down. That's pretty cool. So, you know, I'll do it all different ways. Actually, I'll demonstrate all four in this. And then, wouldn't you know it, people complained again. It's like, that's cool, but you know, you got to hold it the whole time. So then, on the Marquee, they said, well, let's make it so that when you press the two black notes together, you can let go and just play the chord progression, and it'll do it for you. And then guess what? People complained. Because I've been saying this since day one. I said, that's a pretty cool feature. Now imagine, I mentioned some really good players here. Don and Carrie and Todd here, Robert Fisher. We all have the skill that we can do this. If I was sitting here playing a song, or if Todd was, it doesn't matter, and then I walk over to the organ next to me while he's playing the song, and I start ad-libbing notes occasionally, essentially I would be doing what would the fake it feature would be doing. But I'd be playing along, following Todd. If Todd was playing Bill Bailey or whatever, I'll play Bill Bailey. If he was playing the song, I'm not going to disrupt him playing. I'm just going to kind of ad-lib notes here and there, and then stop when I think I should stop and play. Meanwhile, he would be playing the song the entire time. And I always thought that's the way it should have been done from the beginning, because once you use fake it, it activates both keyboards. Then you either have it on or off. You have to do it or back and forth. So what Lowrey did is they made it so that you have the option that when you activate fake it, you can have it on both, which is the default, or you can assign it. Maybe I want it on the upper when I turn it on, or the lower right. So what I'm going to do while I'm playing is whatever sound I see on the screen, if it says guitar and I want to fake it, then I'm going to activate the fake it on the upper keyboard, and then I'll continue playing, or vice versa. So I'll let you see it do it. So I'm going to use this new style here called Light Swing Gypsy. We'll start off with, and then I'll just change a preset that I think I'll like, and then when I activate the fake it, I'll kind of walk you through all the different in one song. So here we go. Okay, we'll do this. We'll start with a song first. I mentioned what, Bill Bailey? Okay. All right, let me try it now. Let me pick a different preset. Okay, so I have, it says 1, clarinet, and guitar bend. So the 1 is dimension. So, and then what I'm going to do is put my fake it on the lower right, which happens to be guitar. Actually, I'm going to reverse it. I want to hear the clarinet do a solo. So I'm going to put fake it on the top. And I'm going to continue playing here, but first let's show you how you have to do it fake it. You had to kind of wiggle. Okay. Wiggle, noodle. So right? You have to get good timing to do that. Well, then they evolved to auto fake it, just hold it. And then some of us complain, I don't want to have to sit there and hold it, so they made it you go hold 2 black notes. And then it evolves so you can play along with it. Or switch it. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I wonder. I have a jazz fiddle and a guitar down here. All right, here we go. Melody. Yeah, so, you know, there's some cool little fun things you can do using these amazing features. Now, here's the interesting thing. Over the years, I've met many of students, me included. We always want to improve on what we do, right? But remember, sometimes if we just can't do it, there's reasons why features are on these models. Because some people, think about someone who's never played before. If they were to take that same style and play When the Saints Go Marching In, okay, gotta get it. They could, with a touch of a button, do what you just heard and not have to be a professional player. And that's why we teach recreational music making, because playing the organ, using all of these features that make you sound great is what it's all about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this time with me today and you learned at least one thing. I know some of you don't have a Marquee, a Grand Marquee. I'm going to encourage you to call your staff members. We do have one available, believe it or not. Did you know that? Yes, it's true. There is one available. If you already have a Grand Marquee, just remember there's always another bedroom in the house that you can think about putting something in. Some people buy another house to put an organ in. Or maybe you just want to buy one to support Fletcher Music Centers. But if you have a model, if you have a Marquee, for example, and you like some of the Grand Marquee features, we have the ability to transform your organ into a Grand Marquee for a very affordable price range. If you have if you don't have a Marquee and you have, say, a Liberty, Symphony, Patriot, Prestige, Inspire, any of those models, and you like to, we have one available. They're hard to come by. They come and they go very quickly. So reach out to your staff members and find out what the exciting news is all about, okay? Well, thank you for joining me on short notice. I think I just put the notice out yesterday. So it was nice to see 26 people and a handful of students in the store, and we got students here. So thank you so much. Stay safe, everybody. Keep playing music every day. Be kind to one another. And mwah, see you real soon.
Bye. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.